Okay, let's have this conversation with Dr. Sam Amadi, who is a RISE analyst. Thanks so very much, Sam, for joining us. I mean, the swan song has come again. It's like a jamboree. That's what some people call the annual constitutional review by the National Assembly. But this time, it's taking a different tempo, a different temperature, the system of government, parliamentary system. Why at this time? After 24, 25 years of democracy, the American presidential system of government.
Well, I think there have been discordant voices. I mean, some people have said, look, junk this idea of moving from presidential to parliamentary. They say the problem is that we have, people have failed personnel, so no system. But there was a reason, but some people also argue that, look, we had better times, you know, then when we had regions, we had parliament, cabinet system of government. But the question is, the American says, if you are smart, why aren't you rich? So if you were that, if it was that good, why are they going to war? You know, it's the First Republic ended in a military rule and then into a war. So, but the key point here is, because the system is failing, people think, look, probably we can do more to look at the system again. And I think those 61 legislators who stepped out and said, look, we are arguing for parliamentary system, they are calling for more rigorous discussion. Now, they are Afenifere and some of the Southwest delegates to the Jonathan's 2014 CONFAB are reviving the report again and say, look, that we had consensus on several issues. Jonathan, time ran out against Jonathan, or for whatever reason, he didn't push. They
never presented that document before the National Assembly.
Good. So now they are saying, why don't we get back to that document? And because significant document. Now, if you put that document by the side, put Abacha's
1995 Constitution
by the side, put the APC's
review,
Erufai committee, even though they didn't own it much. But now, question is, why can't we have a more robust, integrated discussion around it?
And this will be like a people's constitution?
Yeah, something, you know, the idea of people's
constitution. Near that?
Yeah, the idea of people's constitution suggests that you are now overriding the government in power. I mean, those things we had under the military. Today we have the National Assembly. We have all the democratic institutions, even if they're not functioning in an accountable way, but they're there. So you can't just create a people's constitution, but it creates a platform to mainstream and say, okay, these discussions and consensus can now be enacted into a new constitution by the National Assembly. So the first thing to do is really to broaden the aperture of this conversation.
The scope.
Exactly, not just about National Assembly holding town, there are no more procedural meetings across 4 geopolitical zone, and then
they come very hefty sums in billions.
And they have a consultant
in billions when Nigerians are hungry.
Backstop it and then write for you, Section 5 is amended as follows. Electoral timeline, that's not what we're talking about now. There should be, and by the way, it doesn't have to result in more than 3, 4, 5 changes, but at least let there be deep conversation. So the question is, what framework can we use? Some people say, okay, can the president create a constitution, discussion or conference, national integration platform where people have this conversation? Now, the good thing is that it might not end in this electoral cycle, that meaning 2027, 2027. The real changes might be mainstreamed gradually. Some require managerial, executive, administrative action for the president, for example. Some require constitutional amendment. Some require even deeper change of structure. For example, people are saying, why don't we have something like House of Assembly, local government chairman appointed by the council? So you have a real cabinet system in the local area where you elect councillors who in turn select among themselves councillors. Why can't we have elected legislators determine maybe a prime minister, a president, different models? Why shouldn't we have maybe even some traditional rulers are saying, look, for stability, can't talk about an adversarial platform for
House of Chiefs?
But you see, the key thing here is that a rigorous analysis to say some of our problems relate to structure, no doubt about it. Over concentration, mismatch between fiscal control and development. So if you're going to have local government deal with issues like primary education, deal with roads, deal with access to public health at a basic level, you should match them with control of resources.
But yeah. Sorry, Sam, here, the state assembly are not helping matters when it comes to constitutional reforms, you know, particularly for the local governments and the rest. They don't want to grant autonomy. Even the state assemblies don't even want autonomy. Well, they still want to be tied to the apron strings of the government.
That's a scandal.
Does that help, you know, the development of democracy, the development of the human index, and structural development?
It does not. And it tells another story that, look, oftentimes, beyond the structure, the incentive structure itself matters. So local government, House of Assembly exists there with all the constitutional autonomy. But at the same time, the direct of the politics that throws up the membership shows that they can't stride away on their own after the governor. So what we have seen in the last amendments has been that the governors truncate even their quest for autonomy. They side with the governors to deny themselves autonomy.
Does it not show the integrity and the caliber of people we elected?
It shows. The question is, how do these people get elected? And so you're going to have a system.
Are they really elected?
Another good point. So you have a system where the governor or the strong man populates the House of Assembly as supposed to act independent of him. So what comes out of this is that while we pursue structural change, we should not lose sight of the fact that apart from structure, human beings have to act those structure. The process of election, how people come to power will determine whether they uphold those structure. So two conversations going on. How do we improve the structure that builds into the performance of public officials and development? How do we also improve the processes and the competence of people so that they can also drive those structures to optimize their value? So two conversations going on.
I think it should be a three-dimensional conversation. Are we improving the people for them to know what is right?
Very good point. Wrong? So in that case, now people are talking about what is the institutions of public education doing in terms of the
NOA, National Orientation Agency, and the rest. Cultural reorientation.
Exactly. So you need to sit back and say democracy is curated. You have to value system is part of it. Incentive structure is part of it. Accountability structure. So if people just watch the last bulletin where issues around use of policing force, if there are no systems to punish misuse of those power, over time you disempower citizens themselves. But if there's a punishment, you reverse the accountability framework. So citizens are now empowered and they feel that they could actually hold those public officials accountable. So what we're seeing over the years is that public education to help create the democratic values and the consciousness to protect democracy. Again, improve outcome in terms of how the institutions respond, accountability, and then recreate institutions. So three-dimensional, institutional change will be part of it, institutional accountability is part of it, and then value system, political education to create the quality of citizenship that backs up everything. See, democracy rests on what we call civil religion. The notion that somebody's a citizen, he has a right, he could protest, he could demand answers to problems. And so that's why you see in the US elsewhere, you see citizens march to parliament. You see citizens demand explanations for actions. So yes, we're going to focus on how do we deal with the structure. That's a need to revise the structure. Sure, you can say that, everyone has said that. The question is what structure? Where should we go? Should we move backward to regionalism, to parliamentarism? Should we move forward to intensify precise system of government, more powers to governors, make the president like a real chief executive? Should we come back to a parliamentary system where the political institution itself accounts, controls, and enables the prime minister or the president to perform? People have argued that...
Is it the system that is a problem here, or the human being?
I think it's both. Systems, institutions create culture, culture reinforces institutions. So we need to keep an eye on structure. We also know that this structure will recreate the consciousness that reify and institutionalize those institutions and make them thicker.
Well, let's see, as the debate again for, the amendment of the 1999 Constitution, continues, and let's see the kind of deconstruction that the National Assembly will be bringing up. But for a lot of Nigerians, it's another jamboree, another money sharing.
We hope it's not, but history doesn't.
I'm sure you'll be consulted to come and deliver one paper or the
well,
other,
I'm not sure.
As usual. All right, thank you very much, Sam Amadi, Arise analyst there.